It's that groove, though, huh?
Hey, hey! That shoulder into it.
Oh, God.
What's up? What's up? It's your Indigenous brother from another coming to you guys tonight with the B&B Indigenous podcast. Hope everyone's doing great. Of course, I am joined again by my partner in crime, Mr. Rockin' Ron. How you doing, Ron, over there?
You know, I'm doing wonderful, and I'm going to use my radio voice like, what's going on, y'all? Rock and Ron B, your other brother from another mother. That's right. We're holding it down tonight. We got a wonderful guest in studio with us right here on the B&B Indigenous podcast, and we are really excited. Want to remind you guys, if you're watching the show and you got some excitement about the whole entire endeavor, the affair, the biz, we want you to like, share, and subscribe. We have a YouTube channel that's been up for about 2 weeks now. We got a new time slot coming for all of you kids that don't often get a chance to join the show on our Sunday slot. We are moving to Mondays. That's right. We're moving to Mondays, right, Patrick?
Yep, Mondays. We're going to be moving Mondays, not only moving of the day, but also moving different times. We've got a lot of outpour from our community out there that says, hey, you're coming on too late and you're messing up our Sunday nights. We want to make the show. So we're going to move over to Monday nights at 7 p.m. East Coast Standard Time. So if you want to catch us over here on the East Coast, I think, what time is that, 4 o'clock?
That's 4 p.m. Pacific, Patrick. You know what I mean? I got a call from one of the Kokums and the Moshums up there in Canada. What was that? Kakawistahau. Hey, if you guys don't change your time, I'm going to fight you, eh? She sent me a picture with her cane all mad. Anyhow, we want to take it a little bit serious. We're moving right into things.
Absolutely. We have a great guest.
We're going to be doing about a 10-minute news segment. So we're going to let Patrick have the floor for his story. Then we're going to bounce back over to my side, back over to his, and then we're going to finish up with me. And we are going to introduce our wonderful guest for tonight's festivities right here on the B&B Indigenous podcast. Right back to you, Patrick.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ron. All right, the first thing on our docket is the thing that everyone's talking about in Native country, which is Nathan Lee chasing horse, or chasing babies, is for what other people are calling them these days. So as you know, this is a case that's been going on since 2015. An investigation came down, and Nathan chasing horse was arrested. Not only for sex crimes, also human trafficking, as well as drug dealing. With that being said, let's not make light of this subject. I see a lot of jokes going around about the guy, but right now we got to show our love and our attention to the victim. So I want our hearts here at the B&B Indigenous podcast wants to give our hearts out to all those victims that are dealing with this horrible thing that's going on, and hope and everything goes right, that justice is served, and these ladies can have a little bit better rest at night knowing another predator is off the street. What you got for me, Ron?
Well, in the news, this brought to you by nativenewsonline.net. Coming up tomorrow is a day of solidarity with Leonard Peltier, set for Monday, February 6th. Leonard Peltier was arrested in Hinton, Alberta, Canada, Monday, February 6th, will mark the 47th anniversary of his arrest.
Oh, I think we lost Ron there for a minute. I know he's been dealing with a little bit of connection problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to the next story until we get Ron back here. On Fox News, we found out another fake native was found out. A woman who faked Native American heritage resigns for the Wisconsin University residency. All right, the University of Wisconsin-Madison awarded $5,000 and a 10-week course, a 10-week residency at the art scholar who pretended to be Native American descent. So the scholars could develop a toolkit and curriculum around cultural appropriation before she decided to resign. Her name is Kay LeClaire, who uses the pronouns they, them pronouns, labeled herself as a two-spirit. I think we got Ron back. Get Ron back in here. Nope. Still waiting on Ron. I'm sorry about the miscommunication here. Miss K used the they, him pronouns, labeled herself as a two-spirit, indigenous term that was used to describe those who identified as both masculine and feminine qualities. LeClaire had for 4 years falsely claimed Métis, Oneida, Ojibwe, and Cuban heritage, and even adopted an Ojibwe name for the Milwaukee, according to the Milwaukee Journal. LeClaire also co-owned an indigenous and queer art tattoo parlor where they had held a spot of missing indigenous women task force and garnered recognition as a prominent Native American voice before the controversy emerged. Having indigenous heritage does not qualify you for residence at University of Wisconsin-Madison. LeClaire apologized for the dust up and said, "I'm sorry." We heard that before. In a statement, they didn't mention their race, but added that it would no longer use the indigenous name taken in place of the real ones and she will abandon all projects and positions geared towards indigenous identities, toned to these actions, which is really, I think is really ironic because she was leading the coalition for cultural appropriation, which I find hilarious. And and if you look at her Facebook, if you look at her pages, when she's dressed in regalia, she's spot on. She dyed her hair. She dyed her hair a darker color, used brown contacts, put on beadwork and feathers, and she fit right in, no problem at all. And her heritage came down to being investigated by other indigenous students there in Wisconsin. And she actually, the reason this came about is her running her mouth about how she didn't like that they were flying the Ho Chunk flag outside of the college, which makes no sense because Madison, Wisconsin, the home of the Ho Chunks, you'd think naturally that flag would be represented with no questions asked. But she had a problem with that flag being flown, and with her opening her mouth, her true color shown, and the Ho Chunk people there found her out and exposed her. So, what you got for me, Ron?
Man, I apologize for the interruptions out there. First of all, I want to say, that to all of the viewers and subscribers out there. I was leading up to the Day of Solidarity for Leonard Peltier, arrested on February 6, 1976 in Hinton, Alberta, Canada. Monday will mark the 47th anniversary of his arrest. Following a controversial trial, Peltier was convicted of aiding and abetting murder of 2 FBI agents and has been imprisoned since. Many human rights organizations, including Amnesty International, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, National Congress of American Youth, the Robert F. Kennedy Memorial Center for Human Rights, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and others believe Peltier is a political prisoner who should be immediately released. To mark the anniversary, people worldwide will commemorate Monday as a day of solidarity for Leonard Peltier, who is currently incarcerated in a federal penitentiary in Coleman, Florida. As he enters his 48th year of incarceration, hundreds of his supporters will host Rise Up for Peltier events in numerous cities around the world, including Paris, Rome, Berlin, Switzerland, and in the United States. Events will be held in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Rapid City, South Dakota, Tampa, Florida, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Tulsa, Oklahoma, San Francisco, California, and Washington, D.C. Leonard is a 78-year-old in deteriorating health with multiple serious ailments. Supporters have been asking President Joe Biden to grant clemency so that he can spend his final years with his loved ones and tribal community. Those interested in sending President Biden a letter should address the letter as follows. President Joseph Biden, the White House, 600 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20500 USA. And I'm going to go back to you for one more, and I've got one more story about something really serious in the environmental aspect here.
Oh, absolutely. Now, this is going to be a nice, short, sweet. Well, some good news for us Native veterans out there. The VA has proposed a rule to waive all co-pays for Native American veterans, and that is including our Alaskan Native Americans as well. If you don't know, I'm a Native American veteran, 12-year United States Army vet, and if you're not 100% disabled, you pay co-pays like everybody else. I'm lucky enough to have, I'm 100% medically disabled through the military, so I don't pay any co-pays. But there's a lot of Native veterans out there that if they go to the VA for treatment, if it's not service connected, they have to pay an exorbitant amount of co-pays. The VA is now proposing to waive all co-pays that occurred on or after January 2022. It says for eligible Native Americans, upon publication of the notice, they'll be given a 30-day period to get themselves registered within the system once this goes through to make sure they know. That means you need to have, and I know it kind of sucks, you do have to be a member of a federally recognized tribe to get these benefits. I know there's a lot of state recognized tribes out there. Our state tribal members need to come up, go to the VA and make their case because they should be covered just as well as the federal recognized tribes as well. But there's as of right now, they're proposing for federal recognized tribal members to be able to get unlimited co-pays. And I love what they said reason is. The reason is that over 200 years, Native Americans have fought in every single conflict, and they're the only band of people on this planet that's ever fought and won against the United States government. Where, of course, we're talking about a little battle of Little Bighorn here. And they want to show respect that Native people, Native veterans should not be paying co-pays ever again. So that's a bit of a good news. It's just a proposal that hasn't went through yet. So sending up prayers, sending up some smoke that passes through. What do you got for me, Ron?
And also, General Motors is looking to invest $650 million in the Thacker Pass lithium mine. This story by Darren Thompson, February 1st, 2023 from Native News Online. If you'd like to check out more stories from them, you guys can get on there and subscribe, and you can make donations to them as well and on their website for bringing all this news that impacts our people all the way across Turtle Island. Today, General Motors Company announced that it will invest $650 million in Lithium Americas Corporation, the company that is developing a lithium mine on Thacker Pass in northern Nevada. If completed, the mine will be the largest lithium mine in the United States. GM's investment is conditional on whether the Thacker Pass project clears the final environmental and legal challenges it's currently facing in federal court in Reno, where conservation organizations and tribes have filed suit to stop the project. GM said in a statement that its investment represents the largest ever investment by an automaker to produce raw materials for lithium batteries. GM has secured all the battery material we need to build more than 1 million EVs annually in North America in 2025, and our future production will increasingly draw from domestic resources like the site in Nevada. We're developing with Lithium Americas. GM Chair and CEO Mary Barra said in a statement, directing sourcing the raw materials and components from suppliers in North America and free trade agreement countries helps make our supply chain more secure, helps us manage cell costs, and creates jobs. However, Native News Online says in February 2022 that Tesla made an agreement worth $5 billion to purchase 75 tons of raw nickel over the next 6 years in Minnesota. Nickel is a key material used to extend the range of lithium batteries, and demand for nickel is expected to increase next decade as the automobile industry supplies more electric vehicles. More, as I said, on Native News Online. Appreciate you giving us the time to let you know about what's going on around Turtle Island right now. And we are going to bring on our guest. It's like, I'm not sure if she's having trouble with her signal. And if she's there, and we're going to
I
check in
think
and make
I
sure
think
that
she
she's okay.
I think she needs a minute to get her signal backing up. I don't so we're just gonna as soon as she comes back to the room. But I'm gonna take a moment to give a big shout out to our sponsor every week, which is Skoden.xyz. Hey everybody, if you don't know what Skoden.xyz is, you got
Yeah,
to
yeah,
check it
yeah.
out. It's a Facebook for natives. So if you want an alternative way of reaching out to other native people, where it's all natives all the time. It is run and operated by all native people. That's Golden XYZ. You can go into your app store through your Apple or your Android device. It's the medicine wheel cover. So if you join up right now, meet a lot of new natives. It's all natives all the time. So it's a alternative network to Facebook. So it's basically face, Facebook for natives. I think I said that thing. I don't want to give a big shout out to Nick's Belgar. He is the guy who designed, writ everything, got everything going for Skoda.com. He said he wanted a place where natives can go and just be native and not have all the aggravation that we have. Oh, we have her back. Yay. All right. If you would be so kind, Ron, would you
And
introduce
there
our
she
guest
is.
here?
So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have probably seen Michelle on the Social Distance Powwow and other social media sites all across the continent and around the world. She's actually known for her artwork, coming all the way from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, the state of Michigan. She's joining us live tonight. She says she's been crafting all day. We want to say welcome, Michelle Reed, ladies and gentlemen, and let's give her a nice warm round of applause. How you doing, Michelle?
Oh, was you? I'm great. I'm sorry I lost you there for a minute. My technology knowledge is limited, so whoopsie.
Waiting
But
for you to start sending the smoke signals.
I know, right?
That
um,
was the name of my wireless company, Smoke Signals
ah,
Wireless.
sounds like it tonight. You're having some trouble too, so I'm glad I'm not the only one. But yeah, Buju, Kiwaden Gnu, Kwaden Indishnakas, Makwan Indodem, Lacti Flambo Indonjaba. My name's Michelle Reed, and I'm very honored to be here tonight to talk to you guys. It's been a while since I've done anything virtually, and I'm really excited to have this opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you for being with us. We're lucky that we want to give a platform to our amazing artists. I followed you for a while. All your regalias, everything you do, kind of makes me want to be a female sometimes, so I can rock some of those hot dresses.
Oh, thank you.
Man, and I've seen a lot of. I mean, see the videos that you post up there. You know, you've got quite a following. I mean, and this is one of the things that really excites me about our art and our crafts. I mean, we have actually more than enough shows that we've had over the last couple of months related directly to Native arts and crafts. As a matter of fact, we had one we were talking about the Arts and Crafts Act, that protects Native designers, and sometimes it can cause some negative effects for people that we know are Indigenous First Nations peoples. You know what I'm saying? But don't have that tribal pedigree. So, and but it's really, I mean, the things I've seen you produce are actually really nice. You know what I mean? So, so what is one of your favorite things that you like to do when you're crafting? Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Well, lately I've been getting back into making jingle dresses. I used to do a lot of that. But last year, just for some reason, I got really into men's woodland regalia. So just doing everything from moccasins to vests, all of that, and just doing like the full regalia, even the turbans. So it was just so exciting to see the style coming back, and just I don't know, it's just so exciting and beautiful. And I'm not a feather worker, so that's one thing with most men's regalia that I can't be a part of. So with woodland, the only feathers that you're really going to see are the ones in the turban. So that I feel confident with, adding if I, work with the dancer and they're okay with me adding that as well. So then I can do like the complete head to toe set. And then when I hand it to them, it's ready to dance. And I don't know, that has just been keeping me really busy for the last couple of years. but already this year I've done 2 jingle dresses, which I only did one last year, just because I was so into woodland. So I feel like this is the year I get back into making those dresses. And I did want to say I was really into, just sewing nonstop for quite a while. And there was so much interest in, regalia and also the ribbon skirts and just everything. So I was racking my brain, like, how can I make all this stuff? Like, it doesn't matter if I work 20 hours a day, it's just not possible. So then I really started teaching a lot. And I have just worked so hard over the years, ever since I was a kid, to try to understand how to teach people in a way that we could empower them to, start to finish, make something, realize that they have it in them, that they can sit down in the morning and by the afternoon they can be wearing those pieces. So that's a huge passion of mine. And that's what keeps me from producing as much as I used to. But in one class I can have 10 people make 10 things. So it's obviously really expanded, I guess, my reach.
I love that teaching aspect of it. I think that's something that's been left behind when it comes to today's craftsmen. Everybody wants to sell, but nobody wants to teach. And to see someone go, you know what? Yeah, I can make money, but I want to teach what I do as well. That means a great deal. I reached out to people before I knew how to do feather work. I know to do feather work now, but there was a gentleman that did beautiful feather work, and I reached out to him and said, hey, man, if I feed you and I fly you here and keep you, and I'll gift you, would you teach me how to do feather work? He goes, dude, if I do that, you'll take money out of my mouth. So what do you mean? He goes, if I teach you how to make feathers, then you're going to sell, and that's going to take money out of my pocket. So it was really surprising that a guy would choose making money over than teaching. And so it's nice to hear that the teaching is still out there. You have because I'm taking a sewing class. So learning how to use a sewing machine. I don't know how to use a sewing machine. I can do anything but use a sewing machine, which is sad. But I'm learning how to sew.
Yeah, a lot of people get intimidated by sewing machines and things like that. So I understand that. But once you take one class and you see how amazing you can be without any knowledge of it, it makes you realize you can do it, and it's not that hard.
Especially when you have a Singer sewing machine, or I mean, I bought a Brothers. I went to Walmart, the Native American store, Walmart, but I ended up buying it's like $115 sewing machine. But you know what? A brand new machine will at least give you 6 months, especially if you're really beating the heck out of it, making a lot. Hearing you talk about Woodlands outfits, I'm a Anishinaabe and Nehiya too, so I'm Chinook on my grandma's side and my grandpa's side were Midwestern natives. But Woodlands has always been a style that I really love. Got a couple of nephews out there. As a matter of fact, baby Opie, man, watching that kid get out there, he just crushes that floor. Like, I mean, all the things that kid does is just amazing. But Woodland style, I want to be able to pick that up and adapt my dance style with that too. I'm a round bustle and chicken dancer, but I love that Woodland style. We were talking about some Woodlands dancers, man. And Ojibwe floral work, unrivaled. You know what I'm saying? And then,
hold up now. I'm Tuscarora.
hey,
Tuscarora, our floral work. All right, be careful now. You're talking to a Haudenosaunee here. All right, don't be crapping on other floral work.
No, there's a lot of beautiful beadworks and designs that are all over the whole continent. As a matter of fact, every time I go to different powwows in different places, I'm blown away. Like the first time when I was a teenager, we went over and we went to Rocky Boy's powwow, and I had never seen crow belt dancers before. And I was like, wait a minute, they kind of dance funny chicken dance. What's going on? They're not chicken dancers. They're crow belt dancers. Like, oh, okay. And then it started making sense, but they have a very particular style. They'll hold their arm down to the side the whole time, and they'll hold that dance staff or their fan or whatever like that, and they'll move. And it's completely different than chicken dance, but that's what I love. And I see that in some of your designs that I've seen you work on like that, which is why I love to see so many different native artists out there. My friend Bixie Wallahy from over here, Yakima, she lives in Yakima. She's awesome too. I think it's Auntie Nasty's Creations. Have you met Bixie or seen her work at all before, Michelle?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely a fan. I haven't had the opportunity of meeting her, but I will say I did finish up and bring baby Opie his new outfit that I did for him. His
Yeah.
parents asked me to do his stuff. So yeah, he's one of my
Uh,
favorite woodland
yeah.
dancers. He's adorable.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm a big Woodlands fan myself. I'm actually moving towards period style regalia. I'm
Oh, nice.
like, because period style is really starting to pick up, and being Tuscarora and being an educator myself and loving history, I'm picking up more of a period style regalia. I'm starting to see people wear more of the red coats, more of the blue coats, more of the history style regalias, and then they mix that with woodland style dancing. So, which was, especially here on the East Coast, woodlands was mainly what we danced. So, seeing our people pick up, the old revolutionary coats and start jamming out in them makes you feel like you're stepping back in time out there.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
cool. I love the cut of those jackets and stuff. Yeah, that is exciting for someone who loves seeing different styles like that too.
so where did you start at, if you don't mind? Was it auntie? Was it a grandma? Mom?
Oh,
All
my
the above.
start. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said my scarf. I was like, oh no, I don't
I
have
don't
a
have a
scarf.
scarf.
Um, well, we grew up out in the woods. I do have to tell you this because I don't tell a lot of people this, and some people don't understand like why I post all the time, and I'm just like always out there like hustling. And so I grew up like out in the woods, no electricity, no running water, just like manual labor a lot, growing our own food, doing maple syrup. If we got a deer out of season, doing it overnight so we could get it done by the morning and get to skip school the next day. Just
Yes,
yeah.
we don't talk about those things.
That's the that was the good education. That was the real
statute of
education.
limitations here. But
That's right.
yeah, so learning all that growing up from our parents, but then also my mom, that her main thing when we weren't working was beading. And so she it was, we were really poor, and so the beads were like super expensive for us. And so she would teach us, she started off real gradual and then built us up as we got older. So as long as I can remember, we've been making things and learning. And I always had a really hard time learning. Like the other kids would be sitting in the kitchen working away, and I'd be right next to mom at her little table, and I'd be like, wait, which way do I go? Which bead do I go through? Do I go through the front or the back? Like over and over. Like I feel like I probably have some kind of learning disability, but I it's nothing major, but it's just like a mental block of processes. So everything I do very like repetitiously. And when someone asks for something different, it's overwhelming, but I work through it. So when I have over the years, like I helped my mom teach classes, like I always wanted to go with her when she would teach. And we would go
Yeah.
do educational things here in Upper Michigan, and just travel around the Great Lakes to powwows. And we had very simple regalia, but we were super proud of it because our mom made it and we helped make it. But she would always have a vendor booth at the powwow, so that's how we made extra money. It was doing that, so we could sell at the booth. So I was always there trying to talk people into buying my stuff, so I could actually make some pocket change, be walking
Yeah,
around with my stuff. Really, I was really always trying to make money, save money. So yeah, I wasn't like a big spender, but I always wanted to try to, get that so I could go buy some beads or have my own stuff to keep going, keep. So I guess even then I was growing my business as a little kid. So looking back, it's kind of funny, but even dolls, like mom would always have a doll at the booth. And I'm like, why do you always have a doll? Like she'd sell it, she'd make another one. And she would just say, because that shows everything I can do as an artist, making the leather dress, making the beadwork, making the moccasins, hair ties, belt, that shows the different things that you can do as an artist. So yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
love doing dolls, because they're little too, so it's faster. But yeah, so that's kind of
Yeah.
how I got my start in learning how to teach, and seeing my mom draw and draw out her ideas for the classes, and really prepare for a class in a way that she knew that her students were going to have a positive outcome. And that's really helped me, because I've realized that just because we're artists doesn't mean we're teachers. And because I've met so many students who have been failures in art, native art classes, and they have all the supplies to make everything and everything's been started, but not having completed very many things, people think stuff is hard. And I used to be that way. If I couldn't, like when we got our names, we had to peyote stitch our feathers. And I, to this day, peyote stitch still feels hard to me, even though like I have done some big orders with my mom and I'll do it. But in my mind, it's still a difficult thing because I was so young and I just couldn't get that process down, you know? So I really try to empower people. Everything our in our arts is easy, like beading. The hardest thing is forcing yourself to sit down and bead over and over and do the same thing. And sewing, to sit down and force yourself to stay at the machine and just keep sewing. You know, it's not hard. The hardest thing is just making yourself keep doing it.
Consistency is definitely a factor. I finished like 2 beading projects in my entire life that were big, but and to me that was big. It was a medallion that was this. That was it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's awesome.
But I
That's
completely
more
understand.
than many people have done. And, you know, it's a shame because I feel like, you know, back in the day, we all had to have shoes. We all had to have all of these things and someone had to make them. So there should be at least one person in every family who can know it and then pass it along so that, you know, we may not have all the fanciest, you know, most detailed things, but we all have the basics. And then you know, like I love ordering from amazing artists and I love the feeling that they put all that time in it for me because I know what it takes to do
Yeah,
these things.
absolutely. And that's why I've been beading and crafting all my life, but I never wear anything I make. I just, because I see all the flaws in my own work. So I'll put it out and somebody will go, oh, I want to buy that from you. All right, whatever, you know, and they'll buy it. But I'll spend all my money in other artists, like all my regalia. Like I buy different pieces from everybody to have a story in it. But I never wear my own things. Everything from the wampum work I've done to the bead work I've done to cedar box. I used to be an amazing cedar box maker, and I make cedar boxes, custom cedar boxes. All these years I've made those. I've never made one for myself.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Never made one for myself. I don't know. I don't know what it is about me, but no matter what I do, I never do it for myself. I have to do it. I do it for somebody else. If somebody reaches out to me, hey, I need this done. Can you help me out? I'll do it for them, but I never do it for myself. I don't know why I have that mentality that I just don't want to have my own stuff. I want to have everybody else's. I want to have everybody else's stuff. It's sort of like if I make a purse, yeah, I can make a purse for myself, but if I can afford a Louis Vuitton, I'd rather have a Louis Vuitton. I want to have somebody else's. I want to have somebody else's work on me. When I'm wearing, I like being being an advertiser for everybody else. I like being like the show board for everybody else.
Yeah, that is
And
nice.
that's what it's
I'm
been.
back and forth on that for sure. Yeah, you have to support other artists, and the more you know what goes into it, the more amazed you are when you have those pieces from other artists. So I feel that.
So what do you have coming up in the future?
You
You
brought
got
up
any classes lined up?
you know, and I've always.
Ron, you there?
Can you hear us okay?
So
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, can you hear us okay? Can you hear me okay?
yeah, you came back. You left for a little
like
bit.
I said, I'm having internet troubles tonight for some reason. I don't know what that is. Okay, I thought I was like, you brought up maple syrup, and I'm sitting thinking, man, I watched Vince by going out there harvesting, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I just want to go one time. And I had heard about syrup going on over there in the Midwest, all the way up into past Michigan and whatnot. I've heard it. Oh my goodness, people getting into big old skirmishes over syrup. I'm like, I want some syrup. My understanding is probably a treaty protected right for a lot of tribes areas, just Anishinaabes, and you know. And I've
Oh,
always
you know,
been
that's
curious.
one thing
Like,
that I don't.
is it the same as it is with the huckleberry fields out here?
Well, I know there's so many maple trees around here that like we just use the ones in our yard to tap and everything. So they're just like right around the house. We tap them and yeah, we don't have to have, because it's just a regular maple tree. So yeah, I mean, anybody can really do it. Like my sister-in-law from New York, they came to visit and they helped us out. And then they went home and they realized they had a maple tree in their yard and they just put a couple taps in one tree and they made their own small batch in the house. But we have like a big, a big setup that we do. So because we're the only ones in our family who do it. So that way we make sure we do enough for everyone. But like last year we skipped it. Um, just because we had enough extra, but so this year we'll do it. We just have to make sure we get enough wood ahead of time and stuff.
Well, I'm
Nice.
accepting. I'm accepting maple. If anybody's got too much and they don't know where to put it. I live over here in New Jersey where there is no maple trees, just bad drivers. So I am looking for all the maple syrup y'all want to send me. Just putting that out there in the universe. If y'all want to send some maple syrup, I'm willing to accept it.
My brother says I'm on ResNet. That's what's going on. It's the worst signal ever. You know what I mean? But I'm hoping to get it back. It's like I said, it's not Mercury retrograde now. That ended on what was it? The 19th of December. Thank goodness. No more technical difficulties on that end. But I hope that you guys can hear me better now. I'm really now I'm all apprehensive. You know what I mean?
It might be that spy balloon that's flying over the U.S.
They they shot that down with a slingshot.
Oh my.
I
So
heard people in Germany have that spy balloon too to take
oh.
pictures of our regalia at powwows.
Oh, okay, getting the new styles.
That's it. Hey,
I
there's
actually was in
Yeah.
Germany last year, and it is so interesting the difference in Germany compared to here, like how they look at Native people, and there's a lot of work to be done, but I was happy that I was able to go and kind of let them what's up. And even in the Netherlands, I went there recently, and I think it's important to help them realize that they may be romanticizing who we are, because one of the comments was, your people have such beautiful relationships, you're so close with Mother Earth, which means you're close with each other and you're loving each other, your husband and wife and family. And I did let them know that is a romanticized version, because we do have a lot of the same issues, if not more, because of the boarding
yep.
schools and lack of our parents and their parents not growing up with their families, and not even having someone to model those things after. So yeah, I do try really hard. Like, I don't want to be that difficult person who no one wants to have around, but I also don't want to miss the opportunity to kind of give them a wake up call that if you come visit the res, we're not gonna all be sitting around in our
That's
regalias,
it.
ready to dance for
Yep.
you. We're living like real life here, and it's not everything you might imagine, but I mean, we do have a beautiful culture, so I understand why they would want to.
I that's so important to kill the romanticism in it. I mean, because we drink our own Kool-Aid. We drink our own Kool-Aid blindly. On this show, we handle and attack a lot of the issues that we have within the community. Because I believe we should attack ourselves before we attack anybody else. We have too many things in our backyard that we need to clean up instead of blaming everybody else. And we drink our own Kool-Aid sometimes, to the point where we're humble in one way, and then, oh my Lord, humble doesn't even exist another way. Or we're traditional in one way and we're really not traditional another way. So killing that romanticism, waking us up on, hey, stop thinking that we're this way, because we're not. We need to come out of that dream state and go, hey, we have these issues we need to fix. We have our women getting beat on. We have this child molestation stuff going on the reservations. We have our missing Indigenous women. We have a divorce rate that's crazy high. We have the suicide rate that's crazy high. We need to stop romanticizing, drinking our own Kool-Aid, and handling these issues.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And also
And
I meant to say earlier, I listened to your newscast and you were talking about the pretendian issue and stuff. And I remember that going on, even, being a teenager at powwows, and people, finding out people and thinking they were like spies through the BIA and all this stuff. I mean, I really remember hearing about that even back then. But I don't know whatever came of it because I was a kid. But I never met Kia LeClaire, but I had a friend who was impacted by her, and I, seeing the tens of thousands of dollars that she took away from Native people by taking those incentives and those grants and things. That's really hard to see happening, because I don't know a lot of people who've come across that kind of money. And I mean, like, you're working, you're trying so hard to just keep moving forward, pay the bills, move ahead, and stay positive. And it's not all what people see on social media, obviously, as far as artists and yay, I finished this. But meanwhile, all this other stuff is going on that nobody wants to see. And I'm guilty of not being real, but of not telling all my difficulties. But the other thing I wanted to say about your news stories, sorry to change the subject, but I wanted to mention that Green Bay, Wisconsin is also having an event tomorrow for Leonard Peltier's anniversary. So that was one city I hadn't heard, but I know they're really trying to get people to come out to that.
And thank you so much.
We'll find one of the things.
We'll post some information about that on the website. Thank you for bringing that up, and I'll look into that and make sure people are aware of what's going on there too.
Awesome.
And I want to say that how it is noticeably universal. And when you brought up the idea that it's attached to the social media, like everybody wants to see it in a certain, like you said, with the romanticism of it. There's all kinds of different issues that affect us, and whether that's co-opting our art styles, our beadwork styles, whether that's quill work or whatever, all of these different groups around the world that see us as beautiful tend to want to take all of the best things that they see and take it for themselves. And because I've heard this statement so many times, oh, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. It's like, well, yes and no, but I have to look at it, because you, and doing the work that you're doing, you're helping families regain a part of their identity. Some people don't know how to do those things. Being a teacher, somebody who's bringing the styles of artwork that you do in your apparel, in your outfit creations and things like that, and then being able to pass those on, people get a firsthand look at it. They might not be able to be somebody that's steeped in the magic that you create, or other seamstresses out there that are doing that kind of work. You know what I mean? But then when you see it, and then you hear that, yeah, she deals with the same issues that are going on in the Native community as everybody else. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the biggest things that I was thinking about recently is that, sorry, I'm having a light issue. What I get frustrated with is that so many people, there we go, I finally fixed it. Is that we're not the type of people to like put patents on anything. But if we did, I think it would probably be a little bit easier to protect all of these creations that we are making. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's our languages, whether that's our songs, whether that's the outfits, whether it's this, that, or the other thing. It's just really nice to know that we're not alone. And hearing that they're gathering for Leonard tomorrow, that's a really good thing too. If you guys are in Green Bay, you should definitely go over there and support them over there. I know it's going to be happening all over Turtle Island, so don't forget to check that out. And man, I apologize. I have not had this much technical difficulty, and I don't know how long.
So here's what we have so far for the Leonard Peltier Rally for Freedom in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Found the information. So the rally is going to be happening on February 6th at 12 p.m. They didn't give me much information in that. Right outside of the main capital there in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh yeah,
they'll be protected. Milwaukee Coast Guard will be occupying the space with them for protection. I don't know. I would bring the Coast Guard in protection, but it's not like they're on the water. But just joking, Coast Guard men out there. There's going to be a sweat lodge as well. They'll be holding a sweat lodge tonight as well as tomorrow. The sweat lodge is a tradition of the Plains tribes, such as the Lakotas. We all know that. So that's what we have right now. They won't give me the exact location because I think they're trying to keep it quiet from any kind crazy people that want to hurt anybody out there. So I think they're trying to keep the location kind of quiet until it happens tomorrow.
That's smart.
Yeah, word of mouth, moccasin telegraph type situation. Hey, I got a
Yeah.
question for you. Um, what do you notice different, completely different from when you was a kid versus what you're doing now with your art? You know what I mean? With your outfit designs. Do you see like big changes? Like Patrick and I were talking about the bustles in the late 80s and the early 90s were massive traditional bustles. You go out on the floor, you can see that dancer get ready to fly away. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've noticed changes, of course, with women's fancy regalia, different palettes and different types of fabrics that are out there nowadays. But what's your take?
Well, I grew up going to just traditional powwows like here in the Great Lakes area. And I think like that, that was late 70s, early 80s. And I think here everything was kind of scattered as far as what people knew anymore. And so coming back and starting to have powwows at that time, you could tell it was kind of a combination of like out west and then some of the stuff here. And then you saw some woodland a little bit. But yeah, the bustles and stuff like that, really big, really even the fancy dance bustles like not a lot of hackles or anything, real just long, skinny feathers.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems so different now. I'm wondering, I always wondered, like, was it just because I didn't go to contest powwow, so I didn't see like all the,
Oh,
major beadwork and stuff like that?
it didn't exist. It didn't exist. I mean, it was some beadwork. I mean, even if we look at the evolution of the jingle dress, I mean, my grandmother was a jingle dress dancer, old school jingle, which actually she had to go through protocol, old school protocol. Something I don't see a lot of newer jingle dress dancers doing anymore is going through the protocol of becoming a jingle dress dancer, and the responsibility behind it. People don't realize it. I think this modernization of all of our traditional things, I think the purpose behind the protocol is getting lost in translation, and people don't realize my grandmother had to go to she had to go out there where you guys are. She had to sit with the elders of the Ojibwe Nation. She had to be invited in to be a jingle dress dancer. They had to teach her how to do the dress. She had to make her own dress. She had to dance. She had to learn the steps for a year before ever putting that dress on and dancing. There was a whole protocol behind it. And if you look at the jingle dress dance now, it's so flashy. Even the steps are so much closer to women's fancy dance than it was back in the day when it was all about the footwork in the jingle dress. I've noticed more and more of that starting to change. And that's why I want to get your opinion on the direction that the jingle dress is here Ojibwe, right? And I mean, right? So
Yeah.
I love listening to the founders, and people don't know. If you don't know it, Ojibwe people are all the founders of the jingle dress dance. So they are, the ancestors of this dance, and people we should be listening to and taking lead from when we're taking this dance upon ourselves and deciding to dance. And I'm starting to see 3-year-olds jingle dress dancing, not realizing the purpose behind the medicine behind that dance, and they're just throwing it in our children. So, what do you think about the change in the environment within these sacred medicine dances like this?
Yeah, that's a tough one. And it is hard to I feel a little like, uh, first of all, I'm definitely by no means an expert on anything. And I do know that okay, we know there's hundreds of tribes. We know within those tribes, all these different bands. So there within them, so many teachers. And I always have to say this because we all have our teachers. We've all grown up with, different teachings. And I definitely know that were a lot of people maybe who lost those teachings and then found them again. And I feel like we're at a point where we're kind of picking through what's real and what's not real. Like when I was growing up, going to traditional powwows just in this Great Lakes area, and mostly Ojibwe people, some Potawatomi and Menominee, but mostly Ojibwe communities. And yeah, seeing the old style jingle, which was just jingle back then.
Yep, it's just jingle,
Back
just
in the olden
jingle.
days. I
That's
tell my
right.
kids back in the 1900s, before we had cell phones and whatnot.
That's it.
Um,
We used
you
to pass
know,
letters.
and hearing that story every weekend at the powwows, hearing about that, that young girl, and hearing about that dress being put on her. And, as time has gone on, and, I became an adult, I got married, I moved away, and my husband was in the military. So we were in Florida for like 16 years. Well, were in North Dakota for a couple of years, and then down to Florida. So I was away from all of this for a long time. All of the, what goes on here you know, in Indian country, or for me, where I grew up. And in Florida, there weren't a lot of natives. And yeah, to make a short story long. So I didn't really see the evolution of the dress. It's just like I came back and everything was different. The story was different. There were 365,
Ta-da!
And it does. I don't want to upset anybody, but I got this question today because there's a lot of people who do talk about the 365 cones, and that wasn't something I heard growing up. And I never knew a regalia to be made by a non-native calendar. I know most of us go by moons, and I did have one woman say she was taught to roll a cone a day. But if you roll a cone a day and you have your time of the month, and many teachings,
Can't
you would
touch it.
especially roll your cones and say those prayers during that time. So then you're down to about 300 days. So if you're saying that it's a 365-day year, and then you subtract the 60 or so days of your moon time. So I don't know.
You did a lot of things that made sense. Listen, I don't mince words, and I don't hold my tongue, and I'm very honest about things. And I see a lot of bullcrap going on within the powwow community of making up rules and getting rid of rules and changing rules. And the jingle dress is not an old dance, and that's something people fail to realize. Jingle dress is not an old style dance. It's one of the newest dances we have. And my
Yeah, it was
grandmother.
1953, I think, was the first jingle dress, if I'm not mistaken. Now, like I said, I'm Ojibwe, but there's variations on the story of how it came
There
to be. But
are.
it was a woman that
Yeah,
brought it. But I mean, I know there was one lady that told me that that she seemed legitimate in what she was teaching about that story, and the way that it was done. And Patrick's right. The protocols about the dress, you know what I'm saying, and
that's it.
wearing it, and taking like proper care of it, and knowing when to dance, when not to dance. Like,
That's it.
I
My
mean, all of
grandmother,
our dances are healing dances in one way or the other.
but my grandmother would never dance in public. She'd never dance. She did it for, she worked where we were. She did it for prayer only. So when we got calls from the hospital that someone was about to cross over, she would dance them. Or if someone was going into surgery, she would dance them. If someone was giving birth, she would dance them. So she believed that that style of dance, those steps that she did, wasn't meant for the public eyes. Those were not meant for everybody to see. So she never danced it at powwow. She never danced it at community center. That style of dance, that dress got put away. It got taken care of. It got blessed a lot. She did everything she needed to do. Someone would call us at 3 o'clock in the morning and go, "Hey, so and so is about to cross over at the hospital. Would you dance first?" She had asked me to pull out our old tape player, put the tape in the player, and she would dance until we got the second call. She would dance until we got the second call that they crossed over. They've crossed over now. She'd end her step. She'll come in. She'd take that dress off, and it wouldn't be spoke of again. It wouldn't be spoke of again. It was made in her eyes, the way I was raised. That was made for medicine and medicine only. She goes, it's not made for nothing else. So we made it into in her belief, we made it into this public thing that everyone could pick up, and then we could put money on it. She was like really anti-competition when it came to the jingle dress. That she goes, every jingle dress dancer should be invited to a powwow and given a stipend for gas and stay, because what they do is they bring in something special, which is those steps. So they should be taken care of and should never have to be dancing in competition.
Yeah, and we've seen
Yeah.
things evolve. I think times do change, and I would be interested to know again, the 365 thing. I've known many people who have grown up with that, but I also know women my age who have a hard time physically dancing, but still feel like in their hearts they want to carry that dress, but they can't carry that much weight. And I've actually talked to people about, maybe trying less cones so you can continue doing that, because if that's what you're called to do, is a number more important than
Yeah,
the responsibility that you feel, is keeping you going too. Because we
I
don't,
agree.
we're doing carrying that weight for other people, but it also keeps us with a purpose. So yeah, last year, no, 2 years ago now, I taught a jingle dress class up in Keweenaw, which is an Ojibwe community. And I, have for a long time, people have wanted to do these things, but it's taken me a long time to feel right about it, because I know um there are a lot of different teachings, and I've been told, well, you're doing this wrong or this and this. And I don't want to discourage anybody, and I have many days where I feel discouraged, and I feel I can't stop thinking about things people are telling me that make me not just not feel comfortable, with things. It eats at me, and it makes me question what I'm doing. But I did the class. I taught the women in that community. It was 10 women, and we did it together as a community in such a good way. We smudged a lot. We rolled or put the cones on the dress, and we didn't hand roll the cones, which is something that I do for each of the dresses that I make. But for the class, because I wanted to make sure we finished these dresses together. So I did get the pre-rolled cones, and I know so many people are making dresses with pre-rolled cones, and it didn't feel bad just saying those prayers as we were putting the cones on the dresses, because I know that most dresses now that are made with pre-rolled cones. But
Pre-roll cones, yeah.
right. So for me,
Yeah.
those prayers are still going into those dresses when you're putting it on. And I don't know what the other teachings are that people have, but for me, yeah, I do hand roll every cone, for those dresses that I'm making. And I'm very proud that I do that, but I also know my hands can only last so long, as I get older. So what's more important to, keep going? Yeah, I don't know. I
If you
really
have
in
you
a
have
lot of
those eagle talent hands when you get old. Unrolling.
I,
Yeah, that's it.
Hey,
Mhm.
hey, everybody goes through the arthritis. Like I've been holding a steering wheel for the last 26 years of my life. So like, well, longer than that, but as a professional driver, but you get that grip, and it does. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's small beads, size 11s or 12s or 13s or 15s. Your eyes start giving out a little bit. Like one of my sisters, she's an awesome bead worker, been doing it her whole life. You know what I mean? And I see her now, she's got her regular glasses on, and then she's got her specs or her reading
That's me.
glasses right
I do
in
that.
front of it. It's like, but that's the part about it, and you can't be mad. One of the things that I say that I appreciate the understanding of this is everything changes. Might sometimes change happens incrementally, gradually, and sometimes changes, bam, and there it is. You know what I mean? Some things stay the same. There are little bits and pieces that, and if you know about anything in modern pop culture or traditional culture, it doesn't matter if it's contemporary, U.S. or Chinese or anywhere Western, Eastern European. There's things that will revolve. They'll go around. You won't see it for a while. All of a sudden, boom, there it comes back again. It's like smoke dance. Patrick was saying, you didn't see smoke dancers a lot, and then all of a sudden, smoke dancers started coming back around. Woodlands dancers didn't see a lot of woodlands dancers, on the floor at powwows, and all of a sudden, it's coming back around. Chicken dance was on the verge of complete disaster in communities all the way across central Canada and even eastern and western, and now you're starting to see the chicken dance is one of the most popular categories at certain powwows out there in on our lands. This is the thing that I really appreciate. I like seeing new stuff. I do. And if it means that somebody has to purchase pre-rolled cones, which I've done for my daughter, don't get me wrong. I know Patrick's got his feelings on this, but this is my feelings on the matter,
Yeah, yeah,
and I won't be
absolutely.
swayed. I'm just saying the idea that I mean, I don't have any disrespect for people who take that approach. And I think that when you put your hands on something and you look at it, the value of that when it's finished, you're just going, wow, oh wow, look at that, I did it. You know what I mean? But you can't be mad. We all start somewhere. And thanks to colonial encroachments and the boarding and residential school situations, there have been a lot of things that were stripped away from us that we're now starting to gain back because of people's absolute this is going to happen stance. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's why I see it. People such as yourself that are doing that kind of work in the community are going like, yeah, look at that. That's really pretty. One of my bros, chicken dance bros out there, Guy Fox. He's the chicken dance extraordinaire. But but his crafts, man. I'm like, dude, you got to teach me sometime, bro. Let me see the Jedi ways. You know what I'm saying? But that's good. And we do. Well, some people will see it as oh, that's not how you do it, and some people are a little bit more open and accepting of it. You know what I'm saying? But I
Oh,
guess it's just kind of what feels good to you.
I'm down with change, evolving. I'm not down with change. I'm down with evolving, not change. And there's a difference between evolution and change. There's a difference between evolution and change. I call me an
Sure.
old, think of me, you call me an old man thought process, but I'm a purist because without traditions, we
Right.
die. We keep changing stuff, we're going to die off. We continue to change, we're going to die off because everything our ancestors taught us is going to go away because we've changed it so much. It's not going to exist anymore because we've changed it. We've said, you know what? We're going to change a little bit of this. We're going to change a little bit of this. We're going to add this in here. Add this. Now, what
I'm gonna put a little intrigue into here. Okay.
Okay.
So like we love shiny things, we love new things. When
Yes.
those coats came to your people, those
Uh-huh.
jackets,
Yep.
that was added to the regalia. I think of us as just so innovative.
Absolutely.
When
Yes.
I look at the pictures of people of the native people standing wearing these outfits, and we think, oh, that's how we have to make our outfits if we want to be like they were. But then I'm like, what if that was like the least artistic person and they just whipped it together before the photo shoot because they're like, oh, I gotta do something. And nobody liked
Yeah.
that guy, but he just really wanted to slap a bunch of stuff on his turban because he said, I'm going to have extra feathers and I'm going to be the coolest guy in the picture. We don't know. Like if we think those guys were anything like we are, we have to consider that some of this stuff is probably not what.
Well, yeah, well, some of it was, but I'm talking about the important things. For
But yeah,
example,
we can't lose it.
like
Can't.
face paint. In our tribe, face paint's a big deal. And only certain colors are used for certain things.
Yeah.
You're like, I am a disabled veteran that has taken lives in Iraq. So there's a color I'm allowed to use. Nobody else is supposed to allowed to use because it tells my story. It tells my story. It says, hey, that guy over there, he shed blood. See that guy right there? See that woman right there? For instance, white feathers. I was raised that when women cross the threshold of becoming past their mistresses, when they go through the life change and they come off on the other side, they're normally given all white fans. Their fans are normally all white. It shows the second transition of who they are. So that white fan. So because Native people are very visual people, very visual. We didn't have to ask questions. If we see your hair in a certain way, we go, oh, that lady over there, she's married. See how her hair is sitting? Her hair is sitting that way because she's married. Oh, you see how her feathers laying? See how her feathers in the back? That tells me she's got children or whatever may it be. And now it's just to a point where it's, oh, well, it looks cool now. Now I know guys wearing mop tops that aren't part of the dog soldiers. That was an indicator of the dog soldiers. Oh, he's wearing a mop top. That was an indicator of that guy over there was a member of a warrior society of the dog soldiers. It doesn't mean anything anymore. And that's the point I'm making. Even the feathers don't even mean anything anymore. I remember when I first got my first feathers, I had to earn them. I had to work my butt off to get my first feathers because my uncles wouldn't give me feathers. Just because they had feathers, they didn't give me any. I had to work at our sweat lodge for 3 summers in a row. I had to be the fire keeper for 3 summers in a row for the elders before I got my first eagle feather. When I got my first eagle feather, you want to talk about somebody's chest being poked out a mile? You couldn't tell me nothing. I wanted to wear the dang thing to school. You couldn't tell me nothing. But now you see 5-year-olds with full eagle bustles. You see, 14-year-olds with full eagle bustles, eagle fans. My daughters are raised traditionally. None of them had their eagle feathers until they got to a certain point. When people gifted them eagle feathers, they went into a cedar box until I found out they knew how to wash, care, and take care of those feathers and what the meaning behind each one of those feathers and why they got them. Because I'm trying to keep the stories and the purpose alive. And that's where I say, yeah, I sound like I don't want to evolve. I don't want to change. The thing about it is too much evolution starts to change our story of our people. It starts to change that mindset of why we did things. So we get a purpose. We didn't just do things. You asked me about the coat. You know the coat we wore? Mm-hmm. Well, that we wore those coats to signify we took a soldier's life. Oh, when we in battle, French and Indian War, we wore the enemy's jackets to say, hey, look what I got. That's why we took scalps. We took scalp locks to prove that we beat an enemy. Oh, look what I got. You see what I'm wearing? I'm wearing this jacket. I had to earn it. I took it off of a man that I killed. So
you were saying though, you were saying about how change is evolution versus change. Sure. When our people got a hold of lead paint on the East Coast, especially, they wore the most, because it was brilliant color. They'd never seen that color. Like, wait, where's that from? And they wanted to get it. And next thing you know, they're putting lead paint all over them. Now they got big red lead hand paint on their face.
Where did you
killed a lot of people?
Where did you get that story from the East Coast about red lead paint? Because we never used red lead paint. Because our paint came from red clay.
Not your tribe specifically, but there were tribes on the East Coast, and I mean, this was a story that I had read in depth about some of the things, the materials that our people had adapted and used from Europe, because they didn't know anything about lead poisoning, and then it, like I said, and it affected a lot of natives out there, and it affected the Midwest tribes too in some ways. But over time, people started to get the idea, oh well, we should probably not use that; it's toxic. But we didn't have any understanding about it. But that's the thing, like you said, you were talking about eagle feathers and whatnot. I go to powwows sometimes and they get really mad because people will just walk by me and I've got all my feathers on us and I look, I'm like, oh, nah, man. And I don't get kind of offended. I get extremely offended. I'm like, yo,
yeah,
come on, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's stressful.
I mean, and how is that for some? Yeah, how's that feel for somebody that's wearing their dress and somebody comes by with a big old, cup of black coffee ain't got a lid on it. Oh, hey, sir. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not funny, but it does happen. So, I mean, and that's the part about caring for our stuff.
We're all so watchful at when we're wearing our regalia. But back to the jingle dress, and yeah, I will say that it is hard to see some of the contemporary changes that have come about. I'm not gonna lie and say it doesn't make me feel a certain way, but I also know that if I say something, I'm gonna get bashed on Facebook.
You're not gonna make everybody happy.
I know. But I have so much joy when I see so many people, dancing, and I'm like, oh, only Ojibwe people should do that, or anything like that. And when we did that class, I was talking about that, and we feasted the dresses before before they took them. We made pucker toe moccasins. We try to do it in a good way, but in a more contemporary way, making that dress in 3 days with pre-rolled cones, but still feasting them, still having someone speak for them, still doing as much as we could to get as many women in the community to the level where they could felt confident to go and dance. And with contemporary, I like dancing contemporary jingle. I grew up being a fancy shawl dancer, and I don't feel comfortable kicking my feet up high or anything like that. But even me carrying a fan and wearing feathers, some people feel like I'm too modern and too contemporary, but I just get so much joy. And of course, when I did get my Eagle fan, I mean, that's life changing. I know. So things like that. It's just like I want to take that fan out and dance with it. But I love dancing old style and wearing my quill work, and and just keeping low to the ground, keeping that connection with the earth too, because I know that dress is important. And I do know that we do have to keep those traditions. I do respect that. I just had to say a little something because I
Well,
like
oh,
dancing.
absolutely. See, that's what this podcast is about. Like for me,
He said,
my my,
"Pow."
my favorite my favorite style of dance is old steps. There's an older lady that I have on my Facebook. I can never think of her name. I guarantee you know her. She's got short hair, salt and pepper
Selena
hair.
White. Yeah.
Oh my God. I have videos of her, and that's my favorite dancer. She when she grabs that scarf, and there's, for me, I'm an emotional person. When she starts to dance, there's very few people out there I can say I feel what they're doing. When she starts to dance, there's a few times I've started to cry. I felt the steps. I felt them. I literally felt her steps. I mean, that's powerful. For me, that's medicine. When you feel somebody else's energy, when you feel what they're doing. So when she gets down there and there's a good song, oh man, she lights me up. I'm sitting on the side. I'm sitting on the sideline. I watch videos and I'm just like at awe. My little niece, Alyssa Mosley, here on the East Coast, she's the Lenape Nation here on the East Coast, and she does old style like that. And to see such a young girl say, you know what, I'm taking, because she also does contemporary. She has a fan, she has her feathers. But when they call for medicine steps and they ask for prayer, you'll see her take her feathers out of her hair. She'll put her fan down. She'll pick up a scarf, and the young girls under her, she'll go, all right, take your feathers off, put your fan down. These are medicine steps. We're going to do them old school. And she'll bring them out and lead them young women out, them young girls out into the circle and dance. It's powerful. For me, I miss like that. There's something about the old stuff that medicine that's in it that makes me move.
Yeah, she has such joy when she dances, and I feel that too. Like
Yeah,
that's yeah, that feeling of like that uplifting feeling, that joy. And that's how, like, when I'm feeling that song, man, I nothing else is there. It's just
Yeah.
all just that feeling, and I love that. Yeah, for sure. And to see other dancers doing that, and when there's a great song and it's an intertribal, and like it's like everybody
Woo!
around, there's a
You can
whistle
feel it.
and yeah, I need to go dance now.
That's it. That's it. You can feel that
hey,
energy. You put down your
eh,
food. If you're eating something, you put it down. Like, oh,
that's
I gotta go.
there's certain drums that'll lift you right out of your moccasins. And I'm not sweating because Fawn's watching. Fawn Wood's watching right now, or she might still be. I hope she is. Anyway, Creek and Feds, man. I remember one contest I had. I got. Oh, they started. It was over there at Usk, Washington powwow, but it was so awesome. And they were just that happened to be down there. You know what I mean? It was a good drum contest over there. Oh yeah. Uh, Man, they took off with one of my favorite Creek and Fed songs ever. And I was just like, oh, son, it's on now. You know what I mean? You can see all the dancers all of a sudden, whoa. It's like watching Goku and Dragon Ball Z get a sensu bean. You're just like, oh, this is going to be good. You know what I mean? You start off midway, and all of a sudden you're really rocking and rolling, come that third push up. And finally, if you're an out of shape dancer like me and you're out, get there. All right, dancers, line it up.
I'm telling you, we need to start keeping defibrillators at the powwow. We start keeping, because I'm getting old and I smoke dance. When I get through smoke dance and they're like, let's go one more. Yeah, no, I'm gonna bow this one out and watch y'all from the sidelines. I'm gonna welcome the Wed Blanket Singers in, my family over here on the East Coast of the Lenape Nation, and my little niece. I shouldn't call her my little niece anymore. She's a grown woman now. Alyssa Mosley has joined us in here as well. So welcome my family here.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, Alyssa. So, hey, who are some of your some of the people that you looked up to growing up, and who are some of your favorite dancers out there on the floor right now that you're seeing out there on the circuit?
I'd say growing up, I really looked up to the Dowd family over in the Potawatomi community in Hannahville. And still, when I teach classes over there, Vicky Dowd comes and does traditional teachings because she is an elder over there. So yeah, like to work with someone that I've looked up to my whole life. As far as dancers go, I'd say my mom is like my biggest inspiration. I always followed her around. I always said I wanted to be just like her. So still one of my, big inspirations, but she always did traditional. She'd practice fancy shawl with us at home, but as far as, going to powwows, I never really knew anybody's name. I wasn't really good about that. I just like I don't know. I just danced. I just followed and danced and just felt the vibe. But then now, geez, as far as dancers, Delina White, of course, is an amazing inspiration. Sheena Kane is a beautiful old style dancer,
Yes.
but like for contemporary, like that's what I love. Like Grace Hill. Yeah, she's married now. So yeah, when she dances contemporary, she's so smooth and everything. I love matching footwork. Yeah, everything to do with that. And she just has such a beauty and grace when she dances. So yeah, just
Well,
there's so
I,
many. I don't even want to list them.
oh yeah. Well, we talked about evolution and change. I tell you one change I do really like: the new style of dances that are coming out. I'm loving the new style of dances. Like we have the boots and spurs dance now. I
Yeah.
love watching that. I'm starting to see some more of the old style dance. I'm starting to see the horse dance. I love watching that. I mean, I'm Tuscarora and I'm not able to dance that style, but I love watching it. If there was one style of dance I said I'd ever pick up if I was part of that tribe, it was the horse dance, the horse trot. I love that style. And then you have all these new things are coming out, these new dances. The couples dance, the new couples like choreography dancing.
Oh, the sweetheart dance. Yeah.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah,
So
my bro
speaking of,
Justice and his I won that down there. What was that? What powwow was that? It was Florida's powwow, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Which is, by the way, is coming up this weekend.
mhm. Oh, Seminole. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you got
going
to
to
go
be
down
big.
there and check it out, Michelle.
We actually have a big event over at Northern Michigan University coming up on Saturday. So we'll be over there with Woodland Sky
Nice.
Native American Dance Company. That's the dance company that I manage and I'm the co-founder of. So we are going to be highlighting woodland dances, and we're going to be talking about the story of the Lac du Flambeau Band of Ojibwe, my people. And we're known
Yeah.
for, I don't know if you guys know our story, but Lake of the Torches. That's what Lac du Flambeau stands for, and just talking about how we spear and how we got our name. So that's something new that we've been working on, because a lot of what we've done in the past with Woodland Sky is just highlight the powwow dances, talk about the jingle dress story, and then my son's a hoop dancer, so having him hoop dance. But we're trying to evolve it and really bring in more of more of our tribe stuff. Uh-oh,
Right?
can you hear
You gotta bring in some smoke dancers. Bring in
Oh,
some
we
smoke
have worked
dancers.
with dancers. Actually, we've worked a lot with the Oneida Smoke Dancers. So we're changing it up.
Nice.
But yeah, smoke dancers, amazing. I was gonna say something, but I can't remember what it was. Darn it. Oh, I lost my train of thought. But
We have a way of distracting. Did you guys invite a host drum over there for your celebration over there?
yes, we work with a group in Sault Ste. Marie. So Cody Jodowin, MZ Thomas, and those guys, they came with us when we recently went and did the White House Tribal Nation Summit. So they were the drum group there, and we've just been doing a lot of cool stuff with them, like cruise ships and things. And they're just so excited about singing and doing different things. And I know a lot of people don't love doing shows, but man, up here in Upper Michigan and Wisconsin area, there's so many people who don't know about Native people. Like it's like you're either on the res or you stay at your house like I do. Uh, so there's not a lot of awareness or understanding of the beauty of our culture, and that we can be like regular people too. We're not that different from other people. And so trying to show the beauty of our culture, our dances, and trying to find some kind of common ground with the local communities and educate in the schools. Like we do so many schools where we talk to the Native students and they're like, man, they think we're stupid and ugly and, gross. And that's how I grew up. Everybody thinking I was ugly and stupid and gross. And I can hear that in my head. Even when I look in the mirror, I'm like, I still feel like that kid who's being told that all the time. So when I meet these kids, and my goal, like why I wanted to have this dance company, and I don't think a lot of people know, I think they think, oh, she just wants to get in front of people and get, famous. Like, no, I want these kids to be proud of who they are. I want us to walk out of there and then be like, I'm Native. And, you see kids who have never even admitted they were Native being like, I'm Native too. And, giving you high five and giving you the, fist bump and just being so excited that they are Native as well. And man, I don't know. So going and doing these shows, it's not like a powwow, but it's so rewarding to see people be able to relate to us and just see us in a different way. And especially for the kids, the more universities we can go to, the more schools we can go to, the more we can make them understand that we're regular people. We have jobs, like we have to take off work, we take the kids out of school, my son's in college, like we take the time from that so we can travel and educate. And
I do the same. I do the same thing on this side, which is funny. I love hearing about you. I have Ravenswing Productions, and we do programs and events and colleges and all those things. And I love seeing your face light up when you talk about this because you are very much like me when it comes to that. I love teaching. There's something about letting them discover being able to ask a question to a real Indigenous person. It's beautiful. I love hearing you talk about that because I feel like I'm hearing myself talk.
Yeah, thank you. If everybody can do a little bit, I mean, we can make a big difference. I don't know. I do get kind of frustrated sometimes because it takes so much like getting the word out about what you're doing in order to get brought in to do these things, to have people get grants so that, we can travel and we can have rooms and things like that. But if they see the value in it, then it's worth it to me to put myself out there and put these videos out and say, we want to come there and do something. But we have a hard time as Native people. I think I meet people all the time. They're like, wow, you just put your art out there. I don't really know people who do that. It's not like you're bragging, but it kind of is. So it makes me feel like I shouldn't do it, but I try to model my business after you. So I get a lot of inboxes like that. Like, how do you do that and feel comfortable? Like you're not, bragging all the time. And I'm like, well, I have over 20 people that, that I hire to come and do these shows. And, sometimes we may only have 10, but my goal is to always have a demand for what we spend so much time doing, to the point where eventually we'll have a lot of full-time educators. And it's not just something we have to do as a little side, business. This could be something that people actually can go and do and enjoy, like everyday dancing, not just on the weekend, stuff like that. So if I had to put myself out there and people, don't understand that I'm trying to change the way people look at us because of the way I grew up, then that's just how it has to be. There's going to be two different ways of looking at it. And when I get messages like from elders saying, I love seeing your posts, please keep doing what you're doing. And, and then when I meet them and they're like, during COVID, that's all I had to look forward to is your workout, those kind of things. It's like, well, yeah, I'm annoying to a lot of people, but to those people who it makes a difference too. I have to remember that so I can keep going and not, say, let me just, because some days I just want to quit and be like, then the haters can't hate,
But you know what? My mom always said, if you ain't got somebody hating on you, ain't doing something right. They don't hate on nobody. So that means you're doing something right. So having haters says you're doing something right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you don't have to worry. I mean, here's what I say. Those that I've heard this from my aunties and uncles growing up. Those who matter don't mind. Those who mind don't matter. Straight up. I mean, don't get me wrong. You should always be mindful of what it is that we're doing. But when you're putting out the effort to do a good job and help people, talking about the university, encouraging young people to continue doing these things and giving them the ability, showing them that's part of who it is we are, or aspects of Native identity. I think is a beautiful thing, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm making tours and entrepreneurs out there. We
Hey, Ron,
might be
Ron,
somebody's trying to
Ron, can
push
you
you
hear me?
back.
Ron, can you hear me, Ron? You're gonna have to reset your internet
Yeah,
connection, buddy. We can't hear you.
yeah, I totally hear you.
Oh,
Yeah, we can't hear you at all, my friend. You're coming in and out like
My
R2D2.
no
oh, that's
yes.
terrible.
Are you guys
I'm going to bring
Oh,
my call on.
I love it. Uh, oh, that's gorgeous. I need to add that one to my collection.
Little woodland.
My auntie just made me a six of them, all Iroquois, to represent all 6 nations.
Wow, that's awesome. She loves you.
She wants that wampum I send her.
Ah, yeah.
She wants the wampum.
Nice. Well,
So,
hopefully he get his connection back up.
oh yeah, he'll get it back up. So Sarah, what are you working on currently? Anything big?
Actually, I'm very excited to be working on some regalia for Tony Duncan's, one of Tony Duncan's kids, his youngest, Mia. So I'm doing a grass dance regalia and hoop dance regalia and trying to get that done for the World Hoop Dance Championship. And I also am doing a shirt for one of the judges. So yay.
So if someone wanted to order something from you, where would they go to?
Well, I'm not available for custom orders, but I have been doing like drops between my custom orders. So once I finish this outfit, I'm gonna just sit down and make like 10 skirts, and then I'll drop them onto my Shopify. So I just put them in the store, and then it's just whoever can click on it and get it fastest. So I know it kind of sucks because you have to just set your clock and be ready to, try to get it. But it's so hard because I can only make so many things. And I mean, as an artist, like there's so many people who need stuff. Like I need more skirts myself. So I understand that. But I love the demand for ribbon skirts these days. Like when people started really making them, I was kind of like, I'll leave the straight line sewing to those other guys. I'm not gonna lie, I was just kind of like, that's something that I know everybody can do. But once enough people kept asking me for classes, I was like, okay, fine, I'll sew some ribbons on and teach you how to do it. So I did that, and yeah, I started loving the therapeutic feeling of sewing those straight lines because I'm so used to the florals and things like that.
I collect ribbon shirts, and my goal is to have a ribbon shirt for a month. That's my goal because I want 30 shirts that I can wear every day of Native American History Month. Every single day, I want to go out into the public and wear full beadwork and ribbon shirts every single day. That's kind of my goal. So I've been collecting ribbon shirts from anybody that's making them. So I collect one here. Right now, I'm up to 12 shirts. I still got a long ways to go, but it's a long year. So I'm hoping I can have 30 shirts by next year that really represent, because I think we need to normalize Native clothing in society. So we look like we belong. We don't have to wear regular Walmart clothes all the time. We wear authentic Native made things in public. So to make this more of a normalized thing. So my goal is to wear a ribbon shirt every single day to and from work. I use it as a regular practice. So people see, hey, there's a Native person here. He's wearing his original clothing. Well, not really original, but something that identifies him as Native.
And Fabian just said he's got ribbon trunks. He says it's the men's take on the ribbon skirt, of course.
I'm getting a pair of those.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to tell you a quick story. My dad, I hope my signal sounds better and I'm no more R2D2. If it happens again, I apologize to all of our listeners. It's just not a good night for my internet signal. Again, apologies. So it's the early 80s. I'm like 7 years old. My dad gets a bunch of beautiful, like tanned hide buckskin. He's just like, oh man, he's been talking about his city moccasins forever, and he gets a pair of Keds that fit him just right. He cut off the top of the Keds. He made the moccasins. They were knee-high moccasins. My dad looked like an Apache that day, you know what I'm saying? But he stitched those moccasins to those Keds bottoms like that. So he had urban moccasins. He's walking around all over Portland, Oregon, downtown. People are like, "Oh man, you're definitely a native." You know what I mean?
Awesome.
But that looks really cool too. What's your now? Our people are traditionally don't wear leggings. I mean, do you not wear leggings when you dance?
Oh, me personally?
Yeah, yeah,
For old style, I don't. I wear just my pucker toe moccasins with the cuffs, and they're, pretty low. So those are the days I try to remember to put lotion on. My mom's caught me going out
yeah.
real ashy looking. Michelle,
Right.
you didn't put lotion on today.
Thanks for the reminder. Hey, here, honey. Here's some bear grease.
Yeah, I love that about the wearing the shirts every day. I there's a group called Ribbon Skirts Every Day, and I just think that's so cool that they're trying to really get people to, want to wear their skirts all the time. Because I think, yeah, the more we can do it, like old school. My mom's still old school like this. Like if I have a purse line, so I've given her all the different purses and multiples of them, and I'm like, Mom, why don't you use your purses? She's like, I don't want to mess them up. I'll just use them for special. And I'm like, Mom, I can make you another one if you mess it up. Like your birthday's coming, there's always some reason to give you a gift. So just use them. But I think a lot of people are in that old school mindset, even though now there's so much access to things that, yeah, I feel like we can really wear stuff every day if we want to.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. I'm going to take a moment here to thank our sponsor one more time. Uh, if you're tired of Facebook and you want another platform, we have an indigenous platform called Scoden XYZ. It's a Facebook version for Native people. If you want to be able to promote your native goods, your native services to other Native people, such as beadwork, your dresses, and regalia, come on over to Scoden.xyz. Like I said, it's exactly like Facebook in almost every way, except the ads. They don't have the ads that they have on Facebook. But you can come over to Scoden XYZ. It's on every major platform on your Apple device and on your Android. You just go to the App Store, put in Scoden.xyz. You'll see a medicine wheel pop up for the emblem. You click on it, you register to join, and it's a great platform. I'm a member of it myself, and we share our podcast. The B&B Indigenous podcast is also aired there live, just like it is here. We're hoping we get everybody over there. So, we have an Indigenous community online. So it'd be pretty cool to have, and it's also operated and designed by Native folks. So
That's right.
So we're supporting each other business wise. So come over to Scoden.xyz. Thank you.
That's some Chinook and Chippewa Cree digital platform artistry right there by my brother Nick Sanford Belgard. He's amazing digital designer. You know what I mean? And that it's really good. I know he's smiling ear to ear right now too. Michelle, we want you to sign up for Scoden.xyz. What the big plan is here in the coming weeks is we're putting on prizes, raffle prizes. We're going to be gathering little tiny trinkets and bigger prizes if people want to donate like that. Because what we want to do is have more natives sign up for that platform to advertise their powwows, their round dances, their kahamnis, their buffalo dance, their eagle dance, their brush dance, their feather dance, their hoop dance. Oh man, what was it? A couple of years ago in Texas, they had an awesome fancy dance showcase, and it was awesome. The only one was Wild Rose, and then another drum came down there. I'm not sure if it was Southern Express or who. But man, they tore it up all weekend, fancy dance contests. But we want you guys to come to Scoden.xyz and sign up for your own personal Scoden account and start advertising your native designs, your arts, your crafts, your food. I was talking about Des Denemy. She does a food review. Every powwow she goes to, you always see her eating something. I'm like, damn, she's making me hungry now. We want that kind of business to come there. So Michelle, don't hesitate to come over and sign up for your own account too.
All right, Skodan, I'll do that. Definitely.
The more we work towards sponsorship like that, the more people can get away from the same old same. You know what I mean? And this is a place designed specifically for Native people. So I'm glad my brother's been pushing it hard too. So thank you, Patrick.
And listen, I believe in us. You know what? I wasn't always like this. I mean, I did my own thing, and I went and stayed in a Amish community for a while. And I got to experience the Amish people, and I learned so much from the Amish people. Besides, they're just strange. But what I did pick up was the sense of community. There is no sense stronger than the Amish community. They buy from each other. They sell each other. No one's ever homeless. Everyone eats. Everyone's taken care of. There's a barn to be raised. The entire community comes together and does it. And I think Native people need to take out of this book, because that's how we're traditionally, that's how we're supposed to be. The tradition is how we were. We are all as one. There was never bloodlines. It was all of us as family. We took care of one another. And I think we've gotten away from that and became so modernized that those core values that we had are starting to diminish. And Skoda XYZ, I'm always promoting. I would love to one day personally, I want my closet full of native made products. I want my closet full of native even now today, before I buy anything, I research to see if there's a native made person that made it first. If I find a company that made it that's native owned, I'll buy from them. Even my coffee, yes, my daughter, all my coffee in my kitchen, all native made. If I get any kind of beans or dried vegetables, I reach out to see if there's any native company. All my teas are all native company made. So I'm trying to put the money back in our community. I want our own version of Walmart. I want our own version of Walmart where everything is made, everything's produced, everything is sold and profited from Native people. Let's start taking our money and putting it back into the community. That's where we need it. We're always talking about, we need money. We have money. We just send it out all the time. We send all the money out all the time. So I would love to have clothing. I'm working with a designer right now for a 3-piece suit that she made the 3-piece suit, and she's doing all the beadwork on the lapels and on this. And I want about 7 more of these different types of vests to go underneath my suits. When I go out in public, I want to represent. No more hiding. We've hid for too long. I have a passion for my people, and we are, as Indigenous people, as Native people of Turtle Island and Canada, Mexico, I don't think no one can rival our designs. I don't think no one can rival we can Indianize anything. That's one thing I've learned about Native people. We can Indianize anything. I've seen a car steering wheel peyote stitched. Someone peyote stitched their car steering wheel. That's what I'm talking about. Peyote stitched their their car steering wheel. And I was like, man, that is so, we can make anything ours. And that's what I want to see. I want us to start going, you know what, before I buy anything, I'm going to look at my community. My dolls, all my nieces and nephews' dolls. I don't go to Walmart and buy dolls. I reach out to people like you and go, hey, I got 4 nieces. I want dolls made to look like them, representing them. So I don't want to go buy a Barbie off the shelf. I don't want to buy the Native American Barbie collection. I want my kids to say, oh, wow, this not only is this representing me, it was made by somebody like me. Like someone made this that's like me. That means I can make this one day. There is no limit to my imagination. If they can do it, I can do it. When a kid looks at a Barbie doll, no kid goes, well, I can make this Barbie doll. Because there's no representation in it. They can say, well, I can dress up like a doctor, or I can be a lawyer like Barbie is. But no one says, well, I can make this doll. Look what you did right there. That doll you put up, that's gorgeous.
I was just going to say that. It's really beautiful.
I want to see my nieces walking around with that in their arms. Like, oh, look, I take care of her. I take care of this, and I can make it also. The lady who made this taught me how to make it. For me, that's the most precious thing. For me, that's saving our culture. Truly saving our culture is what I want to do one day. That's what I said. 30 days of ribbon shirts. That's what I want to do. 30 days of ribbon shirts. And maybe one day, 365 days of ribbon shirts.
Are you like your mom that way, where you said that she had $1 at the table? Are you following in tradition?
I don't actually like doing vendor spots at powwows and stuff because I just love to dance. So I'm not that way, but I developed the 18-inch doll that I was holding for a class at a university through the National Endowment of the Arts, and taught a 6-day intense, like all leather doll, all wool, and tried to really keep it like as natural as possible using horsehair. But then I got asked to develop a doll for the Lumbee people, and working with their elders and their people to develop a doll because they don't have doll makers. I'm like, well, and I mean, I'm just a regular person who developed it. So trying to get them maybe to do it, but they really didn't have a doll maker. So I was like, okay, I'm not Lumbee, you know that, right? So I just did a lot of research, and I then their original dressmaker like looked, really gave me pointers, and then I went back and made another one. So yeah, I never we would just buy dolls and make them, and then we carved apple dolls and dried them, and then mom, she was really good at making leather dolls, and then we would make clothespin dolls out of the clothespins because we used to hang our clothes out, and she developed a cool leather pattern. So yeah, I
That's
mean,
cool. We do
yeah.
corn husk. The only dolls I ever grew up with was corn husk dolls. We do corn husk on this side over here. Corn husk dogs were a big part of our children's memory. So corn husk dogs is all here on the East Coast, mostly within my people. Corn husk dogs were our big thing.
Did
Nice.
you
Yeah,
ever make a sweetgrass doll?
I have not. No.
I seen a couple of those when I was up in Canada. We went up into Alberta, kind of higher up, closer to Fort Chipewyan. But man, our people are so innovative. That's why I'm so glad to have you on the show tonight. I was all excited. He told me, he's like, "Yeah, Michelle's going to be coming." I was like, "What? Like, nice."
I reached out to Michelle so gentle. I was like, I know you're busy. I know you're really busy, but I have this podcast. Would you please be a guest on our podcast?
Pretty please.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking me. I love talking about stuff, but sometimes, yeah, it can be a little scary because I don't know. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want anybody to think that I know I'm not speaking for everybody, only for what I've learned. And I
Right.
know, my mom was put in an orphanage at a young age. So, like, such a young age, they had to guess how old she was. So, being taken away and not growing up around her parents and stuff, her and her siblings learned when they got older how to do these things after they left their foster homes. So I meet a lot of people who didn't, they grew up on the res, but they never learned how to make anything. So those are the people I can connect with and say, you have to be that first one, like my mom was, because I wouldn't know any of this stuff if she hadn't taken the initiative to, like, when she went to college, they started a native newspaper, they joined the American Indian movement, they went to DC and helped take over the BIA building, they did all these things after not growing up in it at all, and not having the opportunity to learn these things. So then, to going to powwows and doing all these things. And powwows aren't ceremony. Like, we went to sweat lodges and we did, went to different things. And it's so interesting when I meet people who feel like they don't have a right to it because they didn't learn it, but they have you have to start somewhere sometimes. And like, back when my mom, she does have memories of her grandma doing hides and stuff, and we have cousins who still to this day do hides, even though it's physically probably too hard to keep going. But yeah, people who know how to do it gotta just keep doing it and teaching. And I don't know, I'm
So,
just
I agree. I agree. And I love your statement. Listen, everybody. I don't know if y'all caught that. She said it real low and quick. Powwow is not ceremony.
Yep.
I'm gonna put that
Speak
out there.
on that stuff, sister.
Powwow, powwow is not ceremony. I want to say it one more time. This time with a little emphasis. Powwow is not ceremony. Okay.
I'm gonna interject one little thought real quick, because I have been up in the north and they have brought out their pipes. They don't advertise it, but and I've always been told since I was a little kid, when that pipe is on the altar, there are ceremonial aspects. They're not advertising it, like I said, but there are prayers involved. They're just like a whistle carrier, blowing a whistle, or somebody that brings a fan up and fans the drum. Some tribes don't honor the fan like they honor a whistle, for instance.
But
I'm just saying it's
powwow
not a
is not
it's not a
ceremony.
ceremony.
But there are aspects of that there in even in
The,
powwow.
what the
Yeah.
things they're doing is ceremonial, but powwow itself is not ceremony.
That's okay.
The reason I say it here on the East Coast, I can't speak about everywhere. Okay, I spent most of my time. I've danced everywhere, but I'm not an expert everywhere. But I've spent a lot of my life here on the East Coast. There's a lot of powwow people that didn't grow up around powwow, and they get of these hobbyist powwows, and they try to turn powwow into ceremony. Everything from before they enter the circle, they do a spin one way and they'll do a spin the other way, and they'll come in, or they go to the gate. And like for me, I was raised to keep the way we were described powwow. Powwow was family reunion with people you wanted to be around. That's what powwow was for us. It's the family reunion that you wanted to be at because it was people you liked. So it was a good kind of family reunion. That's what we looked at powwow for. It was a place to reconnect with people that lived in different tribes. It was a place to trade, because we always had trade blanket back in the day at powwow, especially if you went to another tribal powwow. At nighttime during the 49, we did trade blanket. That way everybody could bring in quill work or bead work or feathers and whatnot. And we would do a trade with each other. Like, hey man, what do you got? I got this beadwork I want to trade. What do you give me for it? Well, I got this knife that I make. So on and so forth. We kept that tradition of trading alive. But now the idea of powwow being the ceremony thing is kind of getting ridiculous, because if it was ceremony, we wouldn't be opening up the public.
Yeah.
See, there's the difference. A ceremony is not meant to be held in public. There are ceremonies that are held at powwow, naming ceremonies. Those are ceremonial traditions, but the powwow itself is not a ceremony. The point I'm making. Yes, there are ceremonial things that happen at powwow, when did naming at ceremony, that was never a thing when I was a kid. Naming ceremonies came from family. It came during your tribal leadership when you did ceremony amongst the tribe. Now they're doing naming ceremonies at powwow. So
well, you have to remember we have so many different tribes represented, though, and different types of powwows too. Like
yes.
traditional powwows, there's a lot of downtime from dancing. And I know that my daughter was named actually not during the powwow, but at the powwow grounds, on powwow weekend, because
Right.
I was from Florida. So yeah, I mean, you have things like that, but then, we talk about, getting those feathers at a certain time, depending on who we are and, what our traditions are. But so there are things that, it's not all meaningless. I will say that there's a lot.
No, not at all.
In there. So yeah, it's a fine line. I mean, when that song is going, like you said, like when you're wearing that jingle dress, and if someone gives you tobacco and asks you, to dance for their family and things like that, there's a lot of feeling. I don't want to say ceremony, but there is something there that you can't just say is we're just there to visit and dance. There's more sometimes to it.
It's a ceremonial act. You're doing a ceremonial practice. And now if we go back far enough, powwow is from over here on the East Coast. The actual word powwow, if I can get the history of powwow, was never a thing practiced in the West. Never. It was part of medicine people here on the East Coast. Powwow we know now was generated from the Wild Wild West shows, when the Buffalo Bill, Wild Bill Hickok used to go around and do those shows, and they kept that alive. And then the big drum, like our people don't have a big drum. Our people have water drums. We do ours in the longhouse. And powwow started really picking up, and our people adopted the powwow. It's not from my people. That's why our people hold it so sacred. We hold powwow sacred as a gift. Like, hey, it's not from our people, so we hold it exactly the way those people gave it to us. We got permission to carry powwow. Even the same thing with a lot of our things that we do, ceremony that we trade amongst tribes. So when I say powwow of today is not ceremony, I'm talking about the practice of powwow, not the things that we conduct in powwow. Because we do
Right.
ceremonial things. We actually absolutely do ceremonial things at powwow, such as blowing the eagle whistle is definitely ceremonial. And the name of ceremonies, if you do ceremonies, you're absolutely correct. The powwow is new to Western tribes, but not to plains. Yes, woodlands powwows and other tribes coming from gathering woodlands powwows was adopted. Yes, absolutely. That's kind of the point I'm making.
I can tell you from our aspect out here, though, on the Pacific Ocean side of Turtle Island, um, round bustle is a big thing. Now, if you look at bustles from the 30s and 40s of the 1900s, for instance, old style fancy dance outfits used to have a big round bustle and a small round bustle, especially in Kiowa or Comanche territory and those places. And that kind of went, and it was just like it does today. It traveled from one place to another. Now, some people have said the round bustle was given to the Northwest, but to be honest with you, my understanding that it's always been here. It's similar, but not the same as chicken dance. There's a lot of, you know, it's not a courtship dance like chicken dance, but there's a
Show
lot of
it
there's
to me
soul
again.
power in it.
Show
You
it,
know what
show
I
it
mean?
again. Show it
Yeah,
again
yeah.
for us, man. I love that shoulder work, baby. Show that shoulder work.
But and the only reason I bring that up is because like Laura was just saying, there's a lot of people out there that have misconceptions about things
Yep.
because their tribe, this is the way that it's done in my village. Like, that's really great. And that's
Yes,
the
for your
beauty
people.
and the differences that make us individual as nations that I really love. That's what she was saying too. She's like, I notice that's when I travel, I get to see all these things I don't get to see normally everywhere else. You know how excited I am when I was at Gathering of Nations and I seen there, oh, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our smoke dancers. And I was like, yes. I was
And
so
that's new,
amped, dude.
man. They didn't
Yeah.
accept us for many years, man. They would not give us a spot. They would not give Haudenosaunee people a spot to dance at Gathering Nations for many years because a lot of tribes do not recognize Eastern Coast natives. We've had to
Mhm.
fight our way into it. I mean, if you dancing, if we want to compete, we can't be dancing on. If we want to compete, we can't dance in tribal attire. We have to dance
Yeah.
in powwow attire because they will not place us. They will not place East Coast people because we don't look your standard powwow look. If we dance in tribal attire, we don't even get looked at in competition, not one bit.
Well, Michelle, you know how Kahamni is over in that area where you're at. And I mean, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, even parts of Illinois and parts of Indiana, from my understanding, that's a big thing, right? I mean, you guys see a lot more Kahamnis in that area, hey?
I don't see it at powwows though. It's maybe for exhibition or a
Right.
special, but I actually never been head judge before, and they asked me to at Chicago Powwow. I was like, oh man, that was scary.
Yeah,
It was
nice.
it was a huge responsibility. Yeah, I have to say much respect to those who are good at that. But so they had a smoke dance special, and so I called up Bradley Granquist because he's the one I had worked with quite a bit with Woodland Sky and bringing people dancers. So he agreed to be the singer for that, and they some of the Oneidas were coming anyway for the special, so it worked out. But I was like, oh, would you guys be in regular contest too? So he didn't really say, but none of them did. And
Yeah.
I found that interesting because, Woodland is dancing right in there with traditional because there's hardly any places still who do Woodland category. But yeah, I don't see why. I mean, I
Yeah.
see Cassie Thomas, her,
Cassie's amazing. Yeah. Her and her husband both. But when they dance normal competition, a lot of times they'll switch out into Northern traditional and
right.
she'll dress into as well. They're both one of my favorite people in the world, Cassie Thomas and Charles Bilal.
Yeah. She's one
Yeah,
that I look up to, jingle dress dancing too. Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
she's amazing. I love them to death. Yeah. But I've noticed that through all my years of dancing, I've danced competition as a grass dancer and mixed traditional dancer. Now I'm as I'm getting older, I'm migrating back to my own people's style. Those two styles of dance that I used to dance were gifted to me by those tribal from other tribal members. A mixed traditional dance was gifted me by a gentleman out of Lame Deer, Montana. When I got back from Iraq, he wanted me to dance in his stead, gave me his first bustle. I mean, he gave me his bustle because he couldn't dance anymore, and he wanted me to dance in his stead, and he showed me how to dance mixed traditional. He gifted me that style to me. Grass dance was the same way. I looked up to Jonathan Windy Boy all of my life. I mean, I don't know a grass dancer that didn't look up to Jonathan Windy Boy at my age, and I started grass dancing under him. Now I'm migrating back to my own style, and I've had other people of my tribe that says, "Don't compete in it, bro. You're never going to place. You're never." They don't look at us like that. They do not look at. They don't look at holding the show. They don't look at holding the Shawnee people like that. Iroquois people, man, we've had. I remember the very first time that the Gathering Nations allowed us to do a special, or it wasn't even a special in the beginning. In the special, it was just a demonstration during lunch break. They allowed us to do a demonstration during lunch break. And we did the demonstration. And then the following year, they said, well, if you get enough dancers to come, we'll do a special. And then they started doing a special. Now we have a special every year at Gathering Nations. But as a category, we're not looked at as a legitimate powwow dance, which is a shame.
Here, let's put this out there. We need a smoke dance category for men and women. We need men and women's, men's woodland, women's scrub, but we also need old contemporary jingle to be separated too. And then of course, don't forget the chicken dancers.
And the chicken dancers, yes.
Grass and the traditional and be split up. They want to dance all together.
Man, and they should. Chicken is so different than grass. I don't know why they put him in the same category. Chicken is so different than grass. You cannot judge a chicken dancer next to a grass dancer. It makes no sense. It makes no difference. We gotta have separate categories.
Difference between a grass dance song, right? Chicken dance,
yep.
Right? The speed in which the song is sung. I'm just saying, I understand how it feels. Don't get me wrong. I love to get out there. Hold on, I'm gonna do the shoulders again. Hey, but you got you can bring in sexy back like Justin Timberlake.
You gotta put the lips out there. You gotta put them. You gotta put them lips out there though. When you do the shoulders, you gotta add the lip.
I was saying, natives don't got them. Not all of them got big lips. That's like me, of course. But they used to tease me as a kid, Ronnie Big Lip. And like, because then I'd cry, you know.
Ron, we got to get you on a drum more often. Ron, we got to get you on a drum more often, man. You have a great singing voice, bro. For a drum, I got to get you on a drum more often.
Hey, man, our drum Red River. We actually the name Red River came as kind of a compilation of people. I was like, is it you guys want Red Mountain or what are you after? And then one of my bros, Jeremy Barney, is like, Red River. And I thought to myself, well, Pembina's Little Shells and Turtle Mountains, Red River is very important to our tribes in that area, especially Minnesota, northern and western Minnesota, Montana, North Dakota, all of those areas right there. The Red River, if you know anything, there's two Red Rivers. There's one in Oklahoma and Texas territory, and then there's one in our territory over that way. So I was like, you know what? You just hit the nail right on the head. Good for you. So that's been Red River. I know there's another Red River drum out there.
Hey, we're cousins, Yolanda asked the question. I want to make sure we get to that question Yolanda asked. It was a great question. I want to put it back up on the screen. She wrote, just a pointer. Why aren't people normalizing earning their feathers or how feathers are being purchased instead of traded and sold? And I think the only answer is that is loss of tradition and morals.
Or gifted,
yeah, you know what I mean? The pride in getting feathers aren't there anymore because we get them easily. You didn't get feathers easily back in the day. You didn't get them easily. You had to literally do something to have. And I remember seeing people getting questioned about their feathers. Like, dude, where'd you get those feathers? I don't remember you coming and getting honored. I don't remember you being at the longhouse getting them. Who gave you the feathers? Where'd you get them from? Did you earn them? What'd you do to earn them? You know, because it was like such a sense of pride to wear those. For me, I don't, like I said, I know I'm old school. I have an old school mentality. I know that. But to me, feathers are everything to me as a Native man. I remember growing up as a kid being at powwow, seeing those men traditional dancers come out and just being like, oh my God, look at that bustle. Oh, I want to bustle over that one. Oh, look at the fan. And just going, one day I'm going to do something good enough to earn those feathers. My bustle I have now, I earned that from going to Iraq 3 times.
Yeah.
Being shot, being blown up. I've earned every feather I have on there, and I take care of those babies. Those are my babies. Those feathers are. I steam them, I clean them, I take care of them. They're everything to me. If I drop one of them, it breaks my soul. If I drop a feather, it breaks me up. I've given up dancing. I've only dropped one feather in my entire life. Dropped one feather, and I gave up dancing for almost a year from dropping that feather because I felt I had disrespected and dishonored and a point. Now I understand dropping feathers different now as an older man, but back then feathers for me was better than gold. It was better than anything as I earned this more than anything. It was, to have that was everything to me. And I don't see everybody before somebody jumps on me and somebody goes, I do. I don't see everybody. I know there's a lot of us out there that do exist that appreciate and cherish feathers, get in the old way, the old traditional way, the old school way. I get it. I understand. I'm just making a statement. I don't see it as often anymore. I don't see it as often anymore.
A lot of it. And I will say a lot of people say, well, I don't see this, and you should be out giving, and you should be out helping, and you should be doing things with your elders. And those are things that we don't talk about or show. So I know for me, like I do see people, talking about their kids, asking about feathers and teaching them, about waiting and that they will come and things like that. And, sometimes at powwow, seeing people, handing those feathers and, things like that. But I think maybe there are a lot of things that we don't see because I do know a lot of people around here anyway. I don't know everybody. I don't actually know a lot of people super well, but I know a lot of people are, really around here really do take that seriously. And
I see a lot of people, they live at the suppository. They live at it. They live at they'll fill out a paper every single year to get a new bird.
Did you say suppository? Because
yes, I messed up. I was hoping that would slip over your head, but I knew you'd catch it.
I was stuck on it, but I
wasn't going to say anything. Suppository earlier. It was just a really crappy situation altogether.
Well, I won't live that one down.
Hey, don't feel bad.
I am sorry, everybody. My English no good.
If you had a hip hop,
I was about to call it a dispensary. I was about to call it a dispensary, but then weed was on my head when I said when I was about to say dispensary. Well, people are going to think you're talking about weed, and I was like, yeah,
a whole other subject.
Yeah, a whole other subject. So, but you know what I'm getting at. But everybody knows what I'm talking about. Hopefully, everybody knows. You fill out the paper trying to get an eagle in the mail, and I know people that live by that. That live by that paperwork, and they'll sign it every year to get a new bird as often as they can. And they'll
that often.
No, I'm still waiting on a gold. I've been waiting on a golden for 3 years. I've been waiting on a golden for 3 years.
4 more years and you'll be there.
Yeah.
Spotted eagle, or black and whites. If you guys have a black and white that you want to give me, I'm not gonna say no.
No, I got myself on the list for an elder. I'm building an eagle staff for someone and I put myself on the list to try to get an eagle so I can fill this eagle staff out. And I'm like, I keep checking in to see where my status is. I'm like 4,946 billion in line behind 4 other people. So it's hard to get them. You're absolutely right. But they try to get them. They try to get them.
Alora just said, what is she listening to? No more eagle suppositories.
Okay, yeah, let's change the subject because I myself have been to the online suppository.
This is a regular conversation, folks, right here on the B&B Indigenous podcast. I want to take a moment to say thank you to Michelle for showing up and hanging out with us tonight. It's really great. We're meeting so many different people. And it's so wonderful. I'm sure you have a lot of people that are out there asking you questions and talking to you and exchanging ideas, which is part of the beauty of what it means to be Native and all of the things that you understand. It's just another aspect ratio of that unwritten oral traditions. And I think it's really important that children understand this, that, some will say, oh, we're losing our culture and our identity, our heritage, our language. But honestly, if you really want to know my understanding of it, I don't think so. I think that there's a rebirth happening right now all across our lands more than ever. And it's because of people like yourself that are making that happen. When you are going to Northern Michigan University or University of Montana, by the way, when are some of your upcoming classes that you have scheduled? Can you share a little bit of that with us, Michelle?
Well, right now I had gotten a little overwhelmed, so I did step back from booking more classes. I did a recent class in Chicago, and I'm working on something in Montana actually, possibly. But I'm trying to really balance my time a little better because I was overcommitting myself, and I don't like to back out of anything because I feel like when you give your word to do something, it's very important, especially where when communities, are putting the time in to make sure they set everything up. So I'm I've kind of slowed down on the bookings, and the ones that are booked are just for the communities that book them. So it's such a small class that you can run. So yeah, it's nothing we can talk about on here, but I have great I get to go to France again, and I don't want to brag, but I'm so
What?
excited. That's what's coming up. So that's something I'm super excited about.
Is that
And
during
that
Valentine's Day with your husband?
No, he does not
Okay.
travel. He It was a gunner on the AC-130s for many years, and now he's retired. And he does not want to go anywhere because he was deployed like 8 months of the year for many, many years, and so he's happy to stay home 7 days a week and just be at the house. So, and those of you who see me traveling a lot, that's why I do travel, because when I'm home. Like, I don't go anywhere, so do get a lot of family time and stuff. So I know a lot of people worry about me not seeing my kids and stuff, but I'm home a lot. But yeah, so I'm trying to spread out the classes a little bit more. A community is having a baby celebration, so I'm going to be making some moccasins to donate for that. Just trying to do some smaller things to help out in the communities, and dedicate more time to my cultural involvement, spiritually and stuff. So I know it sounds weird, but a lot of people say, that ceremonies are a big commitment. And I have been so committed to teaching and, things like that. And it's interesting. People will be like, oh, are you going to go to that sweat lodge? And, or, invite you to things. And many times I choose, to follow through with the commitments I've made, not thinking if I spread out my commitments, I can be more committed to, things that I need for myself. So yeah, I am trying really hard to do that. So I feel like
I
I'm in a therapy session right now.
no, hey, we got
Hey, this is
therapy is
therapy.
good.
We're here for you.
I'm a big supporter of therapy. I deal like your husband, 12 years in the military. I was a ranger, and I seen all the dirty. I'm in therapy every week. On top of that, I'm also in widows therapy. I lost my wife 2 years ago to cancer, so I'm in widows therapy. I a big supporter of therapy. It got me to where I am, so ain't nothing wrong with that at all. I encourage more Native people to look into therapy. Man, don't ignore the signs that you have issues. Get them while you can get them. Don't play around with it. Your emotions can hide on you and play tricks on you.
Yes,
Yeah,
therapy has definitely saved our marriage. I think a lot of military people, I don't want to say 100%, but all the military
of
people that I
course.
know who've been at war and been in, situations like that, definitely, yeah, it saved a lot of people that I know of. And thank you for your service. I keep meaning to say that because I know what it does to families and what that commitment means.
You know what? I did what I was supposed. I wanted to follow in the footsteps of the people that walked before me, and I come from like a fourth generation military soldier, and I wanted to do something. I wasn't doing anything with my life at the time, and I wanted to do something that I could feel I deserved the respect of people around me. So that's why I joined and I did my thing. I want you. I know you don't like to brag, but I want you to give a shout out or give a little bit of information about your dance troupe, and if people want to find you, if they want to hire you guys, where you guys located, your name of your dance troupe, of course.
All right. Yeah, it's Woodland Sky Native American Dance Company. And we have a Facebook page. We don't have like a website or anything. We just keep it, simple, post what we're doing on there. And we don't really, do outreach and try to get hired. We just know that if people need that education or need something for their students, then, we can give you information to get the grants and stuff like that so that everybody can
Yeah,
work, travel. So yeah, we appreciate it, but it's mostly education and things like that. So yeah, thanks
word of
for.
mouth in the community, of course.
Well,
I
ladies and
we
gentlemen, it
actually
is.
went to.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ron.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know we're getting there to that point too. I just wanted to share real quick. We actually
Go
went to
ahead.
Tri Cities in September, just this last year, and sang in front of all the kids there. There was adult dancers and youth and teen dancers that came, and most of the kids in that school were Mexicanos, and they're of course we share a lot of similarities culture wise, food wise, all of that, but it was so beautiful to get that out there. So doing that work is really good, and I can tell you I appreciate it, and it's really important. And when you do those performances, you see every kid's eyes are just super wide open. You're like, look at them, they're really responding. But it's good for them, you know what I'm saying? So thank you for that work, by the way.
Yeah,
I also I
definitely.
also have a dance company here on the East Coast, Ravenswood Productions. If you ever come on this side, you ever need dancers, let me know, and I'll send some dancers your way to help out. And I'm also a smoke dancer, men's traditional dancer, and a grass dancer myself. So I do a lot of talking and programs and stuff. And I always believe in helping each other out. And if you ever come this way, you need an extra dancer, let me know. I'll hook you up with as many as you need.
Awesome.
And I'm
Yeah.
an arthritic break dancer too, so if you guys want to see me literally popping and locking, you let me know.
All right, you got those shoulder moves
I
though.
wasn't ready for that, Ron. I was not ready for that. Good thing I
Hey,
wasn't
I gotta
drinking
bring that. I
anything.
gotta bring
I,
that comedy in there. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're getting. We're going to be planning some upcoming cool shows. But Michelle, it's been great having you with us tonight. I know we said we were going to give it 2 hours. I know you probably got other stuff. I don't know if you eaten dinner. I'm sure you probably had something to eat, some sort
she's
of
working on those
snacks,
hands. Working on those
commodity
hands.
cheese or something. Hey, I like.
I think it's bedtime for me. It's yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for having me, man. You guys are so much fun. I just feel like we were just hanging out on a
That's what I
Zoom
want.
call, on a FaceTime or something, and I appreciate that. The stuff you guys talk about, it's important for people to hear. I don't know a lot, but I know that I love what I do and I love the culture, and thank you for what you guys are doing because yeah, it's super important. And I'm gonna go to that Skoden and check it out.
Heck yeah.
Speaking of, our sponsorship here tonight on every night is on here on the B&B Indigenous podcast is Skoden.xyz. Are you tired of Facebook? You want an alternative? You want a place where you can meet all Native people? Well, come over to Skoden.xyz. It is located on all your open browsers. You can go to your Play Store on an Android and an Apple device, and it is a Facebook for natives. It's all natives all the time. So if you are a native crafter or a native designer and you want to get more natives on board, you want to let people know what you're doing, come over to Skoden.xyz. It's a great platform. It's just like Facebook, except without everybody else. So it's all
And
it's
if you
all native
guys
people.
And if you guys are interested in Michelle's work and you want to kind of pick her brain or send her a friend's request, she is on Facebook as well. Michelle, do you have a website available for people, or do you have an email that you prefer, or some information you'd like to share about your contacts so people can get a
Oh,
hold of you?
sure, thank you. Yeah, I have M Reed Designs. M is in Michelle Reed, Reed Designs Purse Company, and that's where I sell my purses and stuff. So if you go on there, I kind of update you. This is what I'm working on. I'll have the dolls ready in 3 days at 9 a.m. So set your alarms. So I try to kind of update as I'm making stuff and give you kind of an idea of what it is in case you're interested. So yeah, it's real informal. But then I'll send you to my Shopify link once it's posted on there. So yeah, I appreciate
Well,
it.
I'm going to send you an order. I'm going to send you an order for my Woodlands outfit.
Ah!
I'm working on getting rid of this commodity cheese belly that I've developed as a truck driver. No, but seriously, I'm a pretty husky guy, but I'm serious about that. I know like I said, when you want to invest, I just like to see Native artisans get paid. That's really where
Yes,
I'm at, and
absolutely.
they're sharing their craft, and I'm sharing their work, and I'm wearing it with a lot of love in my heart, especially when you go out there. Like, I don't normally dance woodlands, but I know I've been dreaming about it for a long time. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you tuning in with us tonight on the B&B Indigenous podcast. If you guys like what you see and what you hear, make sure to like,
Like,
share, and subscribe.
share.
Hit that, smash that subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? And hey, you want to contact Michelle? She gave you the information again, and we will be seeing you guys here again soon. So make sure and let us know that you love the show. Again, Michelle, thanks for being with us tonight.
Our Native community, we are up to 355 members on our Facebook page. Come on over, help us get up to 500 at the very least. So if you're not following the B&B Indigenous podcast, please come over to our Facebook page and our YouTube page as well. We are blowing up right now. And if you're out there and you're an artist and you'd like to be featured on our show, if you'd like to come on here and talk about what you're doing in the community, and I don't care if it's just if you're making regalia or you're in music or you are doing Native programs or you're a teacher, we want to hear from you. If you have any subject matters that you want us to cover, we have some big stuff coming up here in the future. We got some big guests lined up for the future as well. So if you have any ideas, we're always looking for suggestions. How can we make this better that you want to see it? Tonight is the very last night that we'll be broadcasting on Sundays. We'll move into the new time. Will be on Mondays at 7 p.m. East Coast Standard Time, which is 4 p.m. Central. So we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Your Indigenous brother from another mother and my man Ron. Rocky Ron. Miss Reed, thank you so much. Much love.
Hold on with the shoulders, baby.